So now we're going to look at a shoulder crunch slash pinch headlock series from the seated guard. This is Christian Tremaine, pro MMA fighter. So let's say it's a seated versus kneeling situation. Okay, so I'm here fighting a kneeling player. We're always hand fighting on the inside, trying to not let our partner get body locks. Right? If he can off balance me and create space in between my elbow, that's when the body locks happen. So I want my elbows inside, and I can play a square stance because he's on his knees. We could play a bladed stance as well. This is great for snapping down into heists. Okay, this is a really good way to work. We just don't want to ever let our partner have access to body locks. Okay, so what we can do is go into one of the most powerful positions from this situation, and that's the pinch headlock. I love this position. I love this position from standing as well. If you can ever get an underhook, we can get a pinch headlock. So however I do it, maybe I get a 2-on-1 in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to try to elevate my partner into ashigarami. I'm going to try and get him to have his hips over my head and enter into his legs. So it's going to look something like this. Let's go to ashi. Right, I load him up. Usually I have to do a second off balance from here to kip overhead and bring his hands even further overhead. Now that his hips are over my body, I can start attacking his legs, going into X guard and things like that. So that's what I'm looking for. Okay. Now, a lot of the time, what will happen if you properly break your partner's balance is they're going to post hands on the floor as Christian did. And whenever he does this, usually what he's trying to do is prevent me from getting his hips over my head. But that comes at a price. When he does that, he exposes his upper body to pinch headlocks. Okay. So we're here like this. However we did it, I get a 2-on-1 and I load him up. I off balance him. I'm trying to get this guy over top of me, and he's sinking his weight back. He's denying me the ability to get into ashi. Whenever I see this, I can just reach right up and lock my hands behind his head and pull him in. Okay, so how can I make this tight? I got to pull him in with my hands. So I don't want my hands out here. I want to connect almost like ear to ear. And I want to make sure that my left elbow's high. Okay, if my left elbow's low, just slip your right arm. His arm will slip. So we can stress test this. I'm just going to take this mic off. So we can stress test this with our partner. I go here, I keep his head on my chest, and my head's connected to his head, my elbow's high. So when he tries to pull his arm out, it shouldn't be available, okay? Now, if you just stay on your back, it's not the strongest position. What I can do is hit a front shift. So I'm gonna first pull my knees to my chest and then extend. Now, once we enter this position where we're sitting up again, we can start looking for all our Sumi Gaeshis and different sweeps and things like this. So right away, what I usually look to do is get on my right side. I start to off balance the guy. If he's no good, you can sometimes sweep, but most of the time he's going to post out with his hand, and you won't be able to. Okay, a secondary option from here is I can just stuff the head down, and again, I'm pointing my elbow high. Stuff in the head down and just driving into him and hitting my Sumi Gaeshi. Okay, but most of the time, there's also arm bars here. Most of the time, what guys are going to do is they're going to start driving back into you, right? So whenever he drives back into me, I just shift my hips and I start to hit my hook sweep to this side. Okay, so if we're here again, high elbow, let's say I start to hit my hook sweep and he bases out with his foot. Yes, whenever we see this, we can go for our Hizuguruma. Somewhere between the knee and the shin, I just elevate with my right hook and I kick out and I sweep. So a very important detail here. Probably the number one thing that people are going to mess up is the position of your elbow when you sweep. Okay, what I don't want to do is I don't want to lock him in with my elbow as I sweep and have my elbow pointing towards my hip. I want to sweep like this, almost like I'm expanding my body and pointing my elbow into the corner that I'm trying to throw my opponent. Okay, so let's look at that again. Here, I hit some kind of an elevation. I got inside, elevated the guy. I'm trying to get to ashi. It's not working. I just go in and pinch headlock. Now I hit my front shift, off balance to the off side. He comes back. We go in, and my elbow opens. So he's going to post, which is a very common reaction. I try and make this leg weightless by pulling my right hook to my chest, and my elbow's up. So as a stress test, let's come back. If we get here, we ask our training partner, can they keep their hand posted on the mat? So if, let's say I kick this leg up. If my elbow's pointing down, just post on your right hand. Can't take him over because my elbow's pointing down. It's only when my elbow points up, post your hand, that we can finish this sweep. Okay? I just want to show one more finishing option for this. And that's the dilemma between the Sumi Gaeshi and the knee lever. Okay, the classic knee lever movement. All it looks like is this, right? We should know this one from half guard, where I just take my feet to the outside, I tilt my knees, and I can start to off balance my partner, right? Very, very efficient move. Everyone needs to know that. So let's say I get him in the pinch headlock. I'm taking him to one side. He comes back. Okay, so I don't just have to do a Sumi Gaeshi. I could do a knee lever. Now, if his knee is off the floor like this, I'm going into the foot sweep as we did before. If his knee is on the floor, okay, we don't just have to do a Sumi Gaeshi. So I'm going to front shift, get back to a seated position. Trying to sweep this guy, I can't do it. I can just bring my feet into the knee lever position. And then as I tilt my knees, again, I open my elbow and I can finish the sweep. If I do this, and let's say my partner's basing on that foot. So I'm taking him over, I'm trying to get on top, and then my partner puts his foot in base and he tries to drive back up on top. I just switch back to a butterfly hook. So come up, the butterfly hook catches him, and I go back into a Sumi Gaeshi. So we have a nice little series here where we can use the hook sweep and we can use the knee lever sweep to take our partner over. If we take him over and he tries to come back up, we just switch back to a butterfly hook. And this is also exactly interchangeable with the shoulder crunch position instead of the pinch headlock. But for me, I prefer pinch headlock because I feel like with my partner's head inside my arms, there's just more control. It's a preference thing though. All right. That's the Sumi Gaeshi pinch headlock sweep.